We're talking about how the mind can take you out of what it is that you want to desire to do unknowingly, because your subconscious mind is essentially running the show. You know, we've all heard many variations of the adage I'm about to share, which is when you believe it, you will see it. And in some cases, it's the opposite. Sometimes many people like myself need to see it in order to believe it. One of my favorite quotes is a quote by Napoleon Hill. He goes, "Whatever the mind can conceive, the mind can achieve." And I'm sure I paraphrased that and I butchered it at the same time, but it doesn't really matter. It's all in the same breath of what it is. And many of the times, our stories is either what takes us out of what we're trying to achieve and really stops us in our tracks, because it's based on limited beliefs that we often have, based on fragments of information that we've gathered along the way that doesn't really reflect on the future of what we want to achieve. And a lot of people would say that, you know, a lot of the anxiety a lot of people believe is based on unmanaged imagination. Now, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a psychotherapist or psychoanalyst or psycho anything. Maybe just a little psycho. But the truth of the matter is, I want to understand, in the day and age that we live in, we're exposed to a lot of negative media, a lot of social media outlets that are dishing out a lot of information, which really affect a lot of the stress, the anxiety that we have. I have my guest with me who I refer to quite often as a bit of a mentor, someone who guides me through a lot of the challenges that I experience, and hence the reason why I brought her on today as a guest. Welcome to the show once again, Roe Salde. I want to talk about some of the effective strategies that you use with your clients when you're managing stress and anxiety, using many of the neurolinguistic programming techniques and hypnotherapy techniques that you use with your clients. Can you let us know what some of those are? Because I definitely feel like I can use some a lot of the time.
There's one that I personally really like, and it's just like, I think I give permission to. So it's 3 simple words and then what comes after. And I love this technique because it's a shortcut to access the unconscious mind.
Okay.
And it's instant.
Tell me.
And the words are, I give myself permission to ... So I give myself permission to relax. I give myself permission to breathe in. I give myself permission to feel relaxed again, calm, peaceful. What happens when you say these words, I give myself permission, we access the unconscious mind directly right away. And I'll tell you why, and it's kind of clever, I like that. Who gives you permission?
Yourself.
Who gives you permission as a kid?
Your parents.
Who else?
Your friends.
Your teacher.
Oh, your teacher. Oh, okay.
To go pee, to raise your hand, she gives you permission to talk.
I didn't think about that one. Yeah.
Who gives you permission when they stopped you on the side of the road?
Police officer?
Yeah, he gives you permission to keep going. You cannot move or go anywhere because he'll shoot you down. You're a threat. So what happens is authority gives you permission. So when you say to yourself, I give myself permission, you are completely reducing that pushback from the conscious mind, and you have access right to. Try it with me. Just say to yourself, I give myself permission to feel relaxed.
I give myself permission to feel relaxed. I think I feel relaxed already.
I give myself permission to feel confident.
I give myself, no, hold on, let me say that with confidence. I give myself permission to be confident.
To feel, to be,
oh,
whatever it
to
is.
feel, yeah.
Doesn't
sorry.
matter.
I give myself permission to feel confident. Say it with me, everybody. If you're driving, you can keep your hands on the wheel and just say it with me. I give myself permission to feel confident. I feel confident already.
You can feel it just washing over you. I give myself permission to go to sleep. If you can't go to sleep at night and your thoughts are racing, just say to yourself, I give myself permission to stop ruminating. I give myself permission to go to sleep.
You know, it's funny you say that. I remember doing a holistic treatment with somebody, and they actually asked that question. And, you know, a lot of people say that, you know, everything is connected. Our thoughts, our mind, our body, and if there's a mind-body connection, then what I was experiencing was some kind of tension in my neck, my shoulders, whatever the case may be. and I believe I got an adjustment of some sort, whether it was a massage or chiropractic, I can't remember. And I remember them saying that phrase, and it was, I think I give myself permission to let go of whatever, the stress or something in my life. And it just felt like it went away in an instant. And I think what's strange about that is I had a similar experience when I did, what was it, Ultimate Power Within. And I remember I had to walk across, I think it was 20 feet of burning, fiery coals. And at first I was like, there is absolutely no freaking way this is gonna happen. I'm gonna burn myself, I'm gonna blister up. There's no way. And we went through a series of techniques, which, come to think about it, had more to do with allowing yourself the permission and allowing your mind to relax in order to achieve that. The same thing like breaking through a board or breaking an arrow in your throat or whatever the case may be, because there's so many different iterations of doing the same sort of thing. And one that I like to use with my mentees all the time is, what would it be like to, and then fill in the blanks. And then more importantly, which I think is the bigger part of the equation, which is, who would I need to be to in order to achieve that? And I think what happens is your mind is oftentimes like the pirate with the binoculars that sits on the crow's nest of the ship. And he has only one job to do. And that job is to look out for danger. Rocks, danger, pirate ship. That was the only job that they had. And I think based on the way our mind works, our monkey mind works, it's not there to allow you to strive, to allow you to feel that pain to grow, but to protect you and to comfort you. It's almost like a fight-flight mechanism. Mm-hmm. And it's there to guard you from danger. And for that same reason, I think once you're able to shift through that process, your mind opens up, because its only job is to uncover and to start to piece together and puzzle together whatever it is that you ask of it. So I think when you ask powerful questions like you do, mm-hmm. it allows itself to get out of the way and start to reassemble or rework or reprogram itself for that new possibility, that new future that you're looking to walk into. And I love that you're sharing this with us, because I feel like I'm personally learning a lot out of this. And I really do hope that the people who are listening in and viewing this show and podcast will begin to understand the power of what it is that you're sharing. Now, I want to talk about something else. Mm-hmm. Something that applies to, for example, a lot of athletes. I know a lot of business individuals use this as well when it comes to goal setting or visualization, when it comes to guided imagery. You hear of a lot of people, a lot of track stars that basically visualize running through that 100-meter dash over and over and over and over again, that when they actually physically do it, they do it almost unconsciously. Mm-hmm. They hear the gun go off and they just go for it. You know what I mean? And I think it happens with a lot of people in life. How does guided imagery contribute to personal development and actually achieving goals? And why is it important?
Because if you can do it in your head, you can do it in reality. Because when you do it in your head, what you're talking about is they have practiced it so many times in their head that they're in the identity of somebody who can achieve it already, because they've done it hundreds of times. Chess players, they practice, like we saw in Gambit, they really do that. They practice in their head their moves constantly. I think I read somewhere, I don't know where, that, I don't know where, but it was for the world champion. And the one guy was a world champion for so many times, and this new guy came and he didn't even practice, but he practiced in his head constantly, month, and he actually won, just because he practiced every possible move in his head, playing against himself. So when you do it and you practice with guided imagery and you plant those good seeds inside and you see yourself succeed, you're actually creating a reality that you start to believe in, and that becomes your new reality. And you feel every time you're succeeding in there that your confidence is going up, and that's your new reference.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that visualization and guided imagery are the same? Are they parallel to how we set goals? and enhance our goal achievement, or are they two completely separate things? And are they two different strategies in approaching that end result?
With guided imagery and visualization, I guess it's semantics. I think it depends on how you do each, but they're the same. I guess guided imagery, somebody is guiding you towards it, so it's more guided. Visualization you do to yourself. It's always easier when somebody guides you to something, because it's easier to listen to it's easier to listen to somebody tells you a story and not reading it, right?
Yeah, I also think the guidance is also there to help ask the right questions to guide you down the path. I think sometimes we get stuck within the own language or vocabulary that we experience in our head, and we go from there. A mentor of mine taught me probably the easiest and the most useful tool that I have discovered in the last 6 months. I'm a big manifester, and I find that I can create things into existence in no time. And oftentimes I end up writing it down, but even if I don't write it down, I have such a strong connection or feeling towards it that I literally feel my way into the future that I want to create. But I think what was different this time around was, he said, that's great, but it's limiting in its own way. He said, I want you to write down 6 more steps in achieving that and how you are going to achieve that. So let's say, for example, the goal was to reach, let's say it was a financial goal, and it was like X dollars by a certain amount of time. So he was like, hey, place the amount of time in which that period would end. Maybe it's the end of the year, maybe 6 months from now. And then what are the 6 steps that you're going to take in order to achieve those things? Like, who do I need to talk to? How many calls do I have to make? What happens if those things don't work out? And we literally went through a contingency plan in order to achieve it. That the plan was all mapped out without even understanding it. And your mind just started to, like I said, almost reshuffle the puzzle and put all the pieces in the right place in order to automatically go out and achieve that instinctually. He goes, I do this on a regular basis so often that, I don't even know how many people he manages. I know that they're amongst the top 5 largest, real estate holders of single family homes in the country. It's an incredible guidance to be able to understand how top achievers use these simple tools on a regular basis in order to excel at the level that they do. So we're talking about techniques, we're talking about exercises. What are some techniques that you can share with people right now, right here, that they can do on their own to enhance their personal development today, using some of the NLP techniques that you use?
One that I really, really like, which is connected to what you said, we call it goal setting backwards.
Okay.
And
is that like thinking from the end?
Yes, it is thinking from the end, but it has a little bit different approach to it. It's almost like what you said. So you come out with a plan, but it's broken down not in 6 steps, because there's sometimes a lot more steps than that. It depends on the person and what do they need in order to chunk it down. 6 step is very good. This one specifically, you go backwards. So it's almost like, if I'll tell you right now, DAWOOD, can you build a house for me?
I know a lot of people that can because I'm in the business, but I don't know if I know how to personally do it. I kind of have the framework and understanding what are the steps that are needed.
If I'm telling you, can you build a house for me tomorrow?
No, I can't.
Why not?
Because I just don't know all the details on how to do it.
You don't know how to do it. It's overwhelming.
Correct.
And this is usually what goals are for people. But if I'll tell you, DAWOOD, what is the last thing that comes on the house?
I want to say the roof.
Yeah, the roof. What comes before the roof?
The foundation.
No? Okay, let's say foundation, okay, and then what?
Then the structure, the framing, the drywall, the bathtubs, the vanities,
plumbing, the vanity,
electrical,
all
like AC, all that stuff.
Okay, so now you see.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but now, so and you're really going into it because you're saying, so let's put it a little bit for people who don't know how to really build a house or have the simple, more than 5 steps. So you put the roof, and then let's say you have 2 levels, so you put the the second level, the first level, foundation. Obviously, foundation comes in further, but you get the point. Point is that when you do it backwards, it's all of a sudden seems like something that is tangible, that it's doable.
Correct.
And in between, that's what we do with setting goals backwards with NLP. We set a date of when this goal it needs to happen. And usually they say about a year, that would be good. And then you start breaking it down is what is the steps that needs to be done before that. And in the void, in the dates, in between, you write everything that needs to happen. Then you go down again. Okay, so what is the step that needs to be done before we put the roof? And then you write, foundation needs to be put, da, da, da. And then you have a checklist that you can start working. And then you get all the way to today. And all of a sudden, when I do it with clients, they're like, oh my God, we started in 2025 and now we're today. And I can see all the steps. So it gives you motivation and it's chunked down to small bites. And another thing that it gives you is dopamine spikes. Because every time you get the goal, whatever it is, the small one, you get a dopamine spike. And then usually what happens when you have a single goal, once you got the goal, everything goes down, you crash, because there's not another goal. So you feel void. But when you have a big goal, and it keeps on going in stairs, you keep on getting those dopamine highs until you get to the master goal.
I'm on a dopamine high right now, and I can't wait to have this conversation with you, but I need you to stay tuned with me. So do you listeners need to stay tuned and wait for more of what we have to share right after this break. You're listening to DAWOOD BEDROSIAN right here, your host from Real Sense Now. I'm with my special guest, Roe Salde. We're going to come back after the break because I want to get into some actual techniques that are going to help address some of the self-sabotaging demons that come in that are going to stop us. But we're going to turn this around because we want to actually help the individuals out there create a positive change in their life today. Stay tuned after the break. It's your host, DAWOOD BEDROSIAN. You're listening to Real Sense Now.